Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season, following Saints' 32-18 defeat here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium this evening against the Warrington Wolves, who have completed the treble for 2025. Gladly, we won't have to play them again because they do it again, because we are absolutely shameful.
Woeful, inept,
embarrassing,
all round not good enough. The time for honest conversations are over for that lot. Absolutely over. We can have one here and say that it's on the coach to get a tune out of his team, whoever's out there. And when you're playing a team that is shorn of the half-back halfway through the game, the captain isn't starting, who plays at 6, it's beyond words, and it's beyond frustrating and anger-inducing how bad that performance was. Because, and just to massage the egos of the Warrington fans who do watch and love hearing us praise them, they were the better team. They were the better team, as I described last time, of two tramps fighting in a ditch over a cold bag of chips.
And that is the most embarrassing part of that aspect. They're terrible. As a rugby team, they are generally terrible. And we've made them look at times like prime Brazil 1970s football team. That opening 25 minutes from us was once again disgusting. If we had guns, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot repeatedly. Now, you said you're glad we didn't film this after 25 minutes because you'd be a lot angrier. I'm just giving you a chance just to reimagine it. What are we doing?
When you've got seasoned professionals throwing balls out on the first tackle, second tackle, in your own red zone here, where you're defending
week in, week out,
all the time, then the honest conversations that are had within the club aren't honest enough. So the decisions being made aren't honest enough. If we're coaching them to do that, then that coaching staff need to have a look at what they're doing. If we're not, then the coaching staff need to have an honest conversation and start dragging them off the pitch to stop doing it.
But don't worry, we've got youngsters coming through who know Stevens. We'll stick him on the bench, but I said 8 minutes, didn't I, on the preview? We'll give him 8 minutes if he ever makes the 17. 8 minutes 50. Put him on at 32, 12 down. Brilliant. What a waste of an interchange, waste of Noah's time, waste of the players' development time. And the senior pros in that team who are getting away with it week in, week out and being placed in the team. And listen, you can say it's on the pros, but they're being picked by the coaching team. And for me, the end is near. I don't see any way back. The only question now is of time and when it happens.
Yeah, I think we've been quite
generous,
level-headed. I'd
generous.
say
Many of the fan base would say we're generous.
Yeah.
I've lost the plot.
Yeah,
I've watched for David Allison, Sean Dyche football this season, and it's not been that bad.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, because that first 25 minutes, we thought it was just going to go south all the way during the game. I think like Percy and Benison have took the brace well, but we weren't sharp. We didn't look keen, and if you're going to describe that as a performance, it's grey. It's drab grey. That it's just not good enough. Running down blind alleys. It's so frustrating because, yeah, listen, Warrington are the better team tonight. Again, there's your ego massage. Warrington were the better team tonight. But when they're shorn of so many pivot players...
No, George Williams, Lou Sneed at half-time, and we look worse.
How do we look worse?
How did they score on an overlap and then they were down to 12? Josh Fields is on the halfway line.
You know what? This will be great for numbers. This will be absolutely great for numbers. But if you're going to clip any of this, please, just tag it.
The problem is for me now. Right, listen, I think I'm safe in saying, unless we're like Lazarus and we suddenly win a grand final, Paul Wellens isn't going to be. Well, it's not going to happen. Okay, I don't see Wello being our coach next season. No. So the question is, do you get rid now and put someone else in charge, where if it doesn't improve, which I feel some of the brain dead players that we've currently got out there, and do you know what? It's senior pros. These senior pros, brain dead. We've got Alex Walmsley in the press this morning going on about how he thinks he's playing as good as ever and he wants to be in the Ashes team at the end of the year. Really? Really? I want to see him put it in a Saints jersey first, but he's not the only one. There's quite a few out there who are not performing at this moment in time. And if we get a new coach in and we don't improve, then all of a sudden the pressure becomes on above. Well, it's recruitment, it's retention. Is Wello just a shield now till the end of the year? And you know what? You don't have to pay him off if you leave him till the end, till his contract runs out.
Yeah.
If that is the case, do you now have to come out very soon and say Paul Wellens will depart the club at the end of the year? Because at the minute the fan base is bubbling.
Yeah, and it'll get more and more toxic. Absolutely will. As I was going to say, I think we've been quite level-headed with and generous with what we've said about Wello and how he probably won't get fired, won't get relieved of his duties, won't walk away mid-season. There's decisions to be made here. Absolutely decisions to be made.
If anybody goes back and watches the video on Friday, I said I didn't have that on Wello on Friday because you've got your senior pros just dropping the ball cold. I can blame the coaching staff when players are throwing the ball out and still retaining their place in the team week in, week out. How many tries have there's got to be some sort of stat man out there. How many tries have we conceded this season off throwing the ball away and we've conceded next set? Teams aren't even working to beat us. We're that bad, we're beating ourselves. You may as well just give Saints the ball in their own half and they'll eventually just hand it to you.
Yeah, and Matt Shaw's made a good point that we've not really gone through. We might have started a revolution of players, but not of playing styles. Our defensive line speed, you're mentioning it during the game, it's slow as anything moving up, which is fine. But
I think I said that earlier in the season. I've definitely said it multiple times here on the terraces. As a defensive line, we just stand and wait for the team to hit us. We don't go into them.
Which is fine if you then smother them, slow them down, and mean that they're not getting quick play the ball because your line's then set. But we don't. We don't. And we're trying to kind of come in and umbrella in on the edges. And God bless him, it's not his fault here today. In fact, he's probably one of our better players today. John Bennison isn't the quickest and can't do that. So you've got to then make sure that you're defending honestly. So you start and it's good to see the change. But in the first place, you've got Dale Sambu and George Whitby defending next to each other. Put a seasoned pro next to each one of them. Dale on one side with Curtis Sirenen and Lewis Murphy, who, hasn't played loads and loads of games, but has played Super League and gone down under and gone through the training sessions down with an NRL team. And put George Whitby on the other side, as we ended up doing with Percy. I'm almost at a loss here, and as I say, this one's going to be great for numbers because it's just me and you absolutely blowing our tops. But we've just been stopped by about half a dozen different people coming out there, if not more, going, I'd rather it was you discussing that than me, because
we're being generous. This is generous.
I think we are, and people, I think we've seen it a couple of times this week that people want us to their opinion, and again, it's almost like the ego massaging thing. This is only our opinion. Some people will be worse, some people will be a lot still more generous than we are, but it's got to come to the time that we can't keep going through we're having honest conversations. We're doing really well in training, we're doing this, we're doing that. I'm not having even like a short turnaround is an issue for that tonight. You should know your role in the team and you should be able to execute it, and we haven't done that across the board.
It's a terrible Warrington team with their two main creators missing out. Well, one for the whole game, Sneed off at half time, and we've suddenly got worse.
It's poor, and unfortunately I think there's a big decision got to be made, and if it's not going to be made immediately and you're not going to say, right,
you need to say what
you
the plan
need
is.
to go, you need to come out and give
because
the fans
I'm not being funny.
plan.
The minute you only give Wello 12 months anyway, you were saying it's got to improve, and it's not arguing now, it's got worse. This is worse. That lineup out there tonight isn't far off what we've got available. Who's missing? Couple of second rowers.
You've got Harry Robertson. You've got your winger, but
they're not the ones dropping the ball. It's not your young players who are letting us down. John Bennison isn't letting us down out there.
Absolutely not.
Sambu's not let us down out there. George Whitby's not let us down out there.
George Delaney
was
our best forward tonight.
It changed things when he came on. what? You've given Noah Stevens a 4-year deal. This side ain't winning a grand final. And I know Weller's probably fighting to keep his job, but the senior pros aren't helping you. So stick the young lad out there and give him his head, because if you don't, you're going to end up having him next season where he's got to get himself back into the flow. The coaching philosophy of the club now should be, let's write the year off. Let's blood our youngsters. Owen Dagnall, get him in the team, and go with it. And do you know what? I think the fans have been more accepting watching the same old plodders week in, week out, doing the same old errors, the same old mistakes, and then coming over clapping afterwards like we should accept it. Listen, again, effort. Not going to fault effort. But performance means decisions need to be made on performance. And if the coach doesn't do that, it's a dereliction of duty.
Yeah, I've nothing really to add to that. I genuinely haven't. You're covering everything though. Another
one in the Tristan Saylor to full-back experiment. We all wanted to see it. We wanted to see Jack Wellsby in halves. Have we got a big enough sample size now to say we've seen absolutely nothing to show that Tristan Saylor is working at full-back?
Well, how many games has he done there?
3. Have you seen anything? A glimpse of anything?
Well,
how long does Johnny Lomax stay out of the team for?
I think the naming of Johnny Lomax as 18th man tonight is telling, because that to me says if you don't throw in a performance, then I can change it again, and I'll bring him back in because he'll be hungry.
If Tristan Saylor keeps his shirt next week, it's because he's your overseas signing.
Yeah, marquee player, probably.
If that was John Bennison as Tristan Saylor's side, would he be in the team next week? No, he wouldn't. So you either... Do you know what? We were talking in the week you could move Tristan Saylor to the wing, but he doesn't deserve a shirt over John Bennison tonight.
Oh, that's very
based on performance and effort.
Yeah, you'd be keeping him in there for speed because he's quicker than him. That's why you'd be keeping him in. And probably, as you say, because of the fact he's an NRL import.
But if you're rewarding performance and effort, John Benson stays in over them.
Yeah, of course he does.
Right, we've got how many minutes in? How many minutes in are we? 12 minutes in. Can we talk about Tom Grant? We are not blaming the ref for a defeat. And if you think we're blaming the ref once again for us being defeated, please rewind and watch the last 12 minutes. But Tom Grant, absolutely incompetent. Potentially the only thing worse than our performance.
I mean...
Apparently, he said on the telly, we've watched in the stadium, the wire try, where we've knocked on, they've knocked on, and he's gone and scored. And apparently Tom Grant said on the video,
somebody said in the message.
Yeah, somebody said in the messages, he's described it by saying, the Saints player has knocked it into the wire player's hand. Yes, that is exactly what happened, but then the ball then hits the floor. So where's the double knock-on no try? There's one in the second half where Percy scores in the corner and you were unsure whether he's on the line.
I said at the time I didn't.
But he's quite clearly pulled back, and I think the majority of Twitter, opposition fans as well, have said, well, if he's not pulled back, he scores, so penalty try.
At Warrington's...
And then off the back of that, which that would have probably levelled the scores up if George Whitby suddenly got his kicking boots on, he gives the penalty for obstruction from the kick, and then they didn't score the 2 over the stick, but then scored off the next set.
Well, I was going to say Warrington's no try as well, because you said at the time you could see the ball, the no try by the sticks.
It looked like it down.
It looked like it got it down, so...
it went up as no try. The one in was it our try, where he needed 15 million looks after the tries given on the field? There should be a checklist for referees. If you go to the video and when you look at the first angle, you can say, no, I can't see the ball, tick it off. You don't look at that video angle again. Why? You're not suddenly going to see, after 15 million angles, the ball appear when you're looking at the same screenshot. There's only about 8 cameras in the ground. Why are we taking 10 million looks to look at something we're all going, nah, you can't see it, nah, you can't see it? Incompetence. The man doesn't know the rules. And this is week in, week out. Whoever he's refereeing as video ref, he does not know what he's doing. Promoted into a position that he shouldn't be in.
You've just robbed the text that I put in the group, haven't you? Because that's what I said. He's not the reason we've lost that game. But
there'll be quite a few people here tonight. If they were dogs, they'd have been taken to the vet by now.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. And calm down. I'm looking forward to this drive home. It's going to be like rally, isn't it? Was it Colin McRae's rally that you used to be able to get on there?
I genuinely cannot believe what I've watched here tonight. They're They must be thinking, we're appalling and we've just hammered that Saints team.
I think, again, you go back to your true Warrington fans. Like we got stopped by someone before the game and had a good chat with him. And your true Warrington fans
Didn't fill us in.
Didn't fill us in. Quite liked us, which was nice. But your true Warrington fans will know that they can be miles better. They can be miles.
We're keeping
miles
Sam Burgess in a job.
Yeah, but they can be, and they've come up against an absolutely terrible Saints team 3 times and done the job on us and done all they needed to, because all they needed to do was take the chances, and then once our heads go down, just keep pushing, and they go in for try, and we're just stood up going, they're going to go in again here, aren't they? They're going to go in again here. Right. Anyway, Thursday night as well.
At least it's freed the weekend up.
I've got to go to work tomorrow.
That's more pleasurable than watching this at the minute.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
I'm genuinely lost for words. Okay, right, $1 million question then. Paul Wellens, what do you do with him at this moment in time? If you're aiming.
If I'm aiming, if there's someone available that I think can do the job, relieve him of his duties. But
do you go?
But I think the thing
I know we've had it. I'm going to add a question then here.
Okay.
I know with Libri, as he said multiple times, he doesn't want the job. Do you put him on as an interim basis?
Freddie O'Carroll, he's been head coach before.
I'm sure he'd take the opportunity.
Why don't you give it him? If you're going to do that, you do that.
Are all the coaching team culpable?
Yeah, I think they've all got to be.
So therefore, listen, if Lauren Fresnew was still here and it wasn't Libri, the entire fan base had called for the Lauren to go. Yeah. Is Libri getting a free pass because he's come into this? But you could arguably say we've got worse.
Yeah, and people will rightly ask how much influence he's got over us, because we're not seeing the rewards on the field, are we?
None of us know the answer to this question. We don't know. But
what would you do if you're aiming now? If you're aiming Mike Rush now, what do you do? Because my answer is, if I know someone's available that I want to run the club, you get them in,
and then so they can overlook. And if you've got the recruitment coming, I don't see a position now where Wello is in charge next season, and I hate to say that because I've never wanted to.
The question is, what do you do now?
If someone's available who you want long term and they want to come now, you get them in. What do I think they do? I think they'll I think the head will be in the sand and we'll just go to the end of the year. Because I'm not being funny. If we don't want to pay money for Dion Cross to actually bring someone into the club who might improve us, they're not going to want to pay someone money not to be here.
Yeah, that's fair.
But arguably, if this carries on, performances are going to dip. Listen, we've only brought 1,200 here tonight, and listen, quite clearly there's the argument that we've played them wide away in the cup. We've played Wigan away. You've got Magic next week. You've got Ashes tickets, and all that will have a bearing on people's finances. Money only stretches so far, but if we were winning, there would be at least 500 or 600 more here tonight. So it all comes into it. And listen, I know away, and your away speckies are your loyalist, and people have chose to stay at home tonight and watch that on TV because they probably knew what was coming a little bit.
And can you blame them?
No, not at all. And your worry is if that starts bleeding over into a home game, then 1,000 off the gate is 25 grand on ticket sales. Because let's be honest, if you're not a season ticket holder at the moment, are you paying to come and watch that when it's on TV and they're not performing and the season's a write-off? So you're potentially losing 25 grand a game just on ticket sales before your concessions and everything else. So if finance is going to have a bearing, they need to look at it now. It's just a case of when you do it.
And it's horrible. It's horrible to say about a club legend. We've been in this situation before, obviously, with Kieran Cunningham when he went. And it's horrible to say. But when this is your relief at the end of the week, you come out and you want to be entertained. Yeah, you want to be entertained. You want to see your team winning. But you want to go away at least going, oh, we've been beat today, 20 points to 18. What a game that was.
We've said multiple times, I want to see a league where you come each week and you don't know that the result is a foregone conclusion. I do mind. You don't mind getting beat when you've put a performance in and the other team's just better than you. Yep. We are losing games now through our own self-destruction. If there's, I tweeted a picture of Homer Simpson hitting the self-destruct button. That is us, week in, week out. So you could argue if you get a new coach that all of a sudden the self-destruct button goes away because the players realise they're not guaranteed a share. Because let's be honest, how many of that 17 are going to stay in that team next week? 15, 16?
Yeah, you'd probably say so.
I don't know. You're limited on what you can change. And listen, Wello knows himself. I think he's always said it. Coaches are based on results.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the results are showing that it's going one way.
Yeah, and not the way that we all want it to, for him, for us as a club.
I'm gutted by it, because I want us to have a Matt Pete who, local lad, comes through, takes the job, or Sean Wayne, who can have the job for 10 years, and you don't have to worry about it. Because listen, if we get an Aussie coach, brilliant. But chances are, if they come and have success over 2 or 3 years, they're gone again, and you're back to the same boat. Ideally, you want someone to come in, take the reins, and be a success. That's what we all want. Everyone as a club wants. Listen, I want to throw one in here. Lee Breeze doesn't want to be head coach. Do you put Freddie O'Carroll in with James Roby alongside, just assisting him until the end of the year, just to...
You probably keep Lee Breeze in there as well.
No, but as the assistant.
Yeah, as the assistant. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I might go and lock myself in Darryl Powell's box and.
Darryl Powell's still in there. Darryl.
That was a Halloween decoration.
Right, they're going to turn the lights out.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're not blaming the referee for the defeat, although he was bad.
Well, at least we've got our football teams.
David Allison. Hope you're watching. Catch you soon. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.